Hey, what's up, Couch Potatoes? We are back with a little more spooky season, and we're turning the clock back to my senior year of high school when this movie came out. I Know What You Did Last Summer. It was 1997, directed by Jim Gillespie, but more importantly, written by Kevin Williamson, who also wrote her favorite scary movie of all time, Scream. I have a ton of nostalgia for this movie, so I'm not going to lie to you guys. I am going to have the rose tinted glasses on for this one, and I'm curious to see where you stand on it because you are such a big Scream fan. So when you went into this, actually, when did you first see this?
Oh, I probably saw it shortly after it came out. I don't think I saw it in theaters because I'm not a horror girl.
I was a huge Buffy fan, so I was in the theater watching my girl Sarah Michelle. You better believe I was, absolutely. And what I loved about this at the time was because it was obviously riding that wave of success that Scream had, but
yeah.
I was the same age as these kids, and I think that's what makes something always a lot more fun. Like that's why I like Can't Hardly Wait is like my generation's Animal House because I was the age that those characters were when that movie came out. So this one always seems like it was the redheaded stepchild of Scream, and people just kind of like made fun of it because of the long name and stuff. But I watched it, I'm like, it doesn't do anything more ridiculous than Scream does. I mean, Scream was very meta in the best ways.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But when people are like, oh, it's just like so over the top. Dude, find me one horror movie in the 1990s that didn't have some plot hole that you could drive a truck through. Like everybody always wants to bring up the trunk, you know, the dead body and the crabs in the trunk, and it's like, oh, and it's like perfectly clean. Look, maybe the guy works at a car wash. He's just really, really good at cleaning out cars.
I figured you just laid the plastic down first.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I would do.
I didn't think about that. Somebody actually in the comments said, or it was on Twitter, actually told me, it's like, what if he had like the same car, like an exact car, and you just switched the cars out? I'm like, wow, same radio station and everything. That's amazing. That's amazing work.
Amazing attention to detail.
I like your
The
theory
keywords,
much
too.
better.
Yeah.
I don't get hung up on stuff like that when it comes to horror movies. But this one, all right, this has all the teen heartthrobs at the time. Ryan Philippe, Freddie Prinze Jr., what's her name?
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, and of course Sarah Michelle Gellar. So this was like the boys were there, the girls were there. This was everything. Even though now you claim you weren't into either of those boys, I just find that very hard to believe at the time period. But
Sorry.
you know, this is pre Freddie Prinze and Sarah Michelle being an item. You know,
I thought this is where they met. Yes.
I don't know, maybe.
Clearly.
I think it was actually Scooby. Well, yeah, because they did Scooby Doo together also. But I think that's when they that's when he stole her from me, you know, that bastard. But yeah, I don't know if it's just a nostalgia for this. I love the idea of playing around with some urban legends. At the time felt like okay, they did with Scream as I go back to be nostalgic for all these old horror movies and talk about the rules and stuff. And this just says let's get it back down to basics. Let's talk about the man with the hook. And, you know, I like they give the different versions of the story about the drip or the scrape. I always heard the scrape and then the hook is hanging on the door handles. The one that I had always heard.
That's the one I heard.
But the one about the blood dripping on that was pretty good. I like that.
Or the scraping, but it's not the hook; it's the feet from the body.
Yeah,
Like,
the being hung up above them,
Yeah.
decapitated. So, yeah, it's really really good stuff. So I think right away there's just it gets what teenagers were like at the time. One, don't drink. Two, don't drink and drive. I think movies like this make me think they need to raise the driving limit to like 30. Because, you know, obviously, we all broke rules when we were teenagers, and you thought it was cool to drink and smoke. I didn't, because I was a good little kid, right? But yeah, one thing to this day, I'm still like, yeah, I know when I shouldn't be behind the wheel of a car.
Oh, yeah.
And even if you are the sober one, if you've got someone that obnoxiously drunk in the car, maybe we should pull over and let things cool down. If someone's sticking their head out of the sunroof and just chugging a bottle, maybe we should stop for a while. But, you know, hey, crazy things do happen when you're a teenager, and it's not unbelievable, especially in 1997 before we had smartphones and, you know, Netflix. I think to be doing stuff this irresponsible. But big problem I have with these movies always, I don't feel like they do things that teenagers did. Do you feel like this was, for a small little coastal town like this was a realistic setting for you? Or?
I guess that it didn't. Nothing really took me out where I was like, oh no, that doesn't track.
Only thing that didn't track for me was like how much roid rage did Ryan Philippe has? Because that guy in this movie, man, I was like anything. He was like, "You shut the fuck up!" Like, my God, man,
You're fighting everybody.
Calm down. Yeah, he was ready to fight his own shadow, I think. But yeah, I mean, all the kills in this,
It's a hyperbole
really
character,
good.
though.
I feel like there are some hat tips I even like the part where Sarah Michelle Gellar's character is trying to get in the store, waiting for her sister to unlock the door, is straight out of Halloween, where she's waiting for the kid to come down the stairs and unlock the door while Michael Myers is walking really slow across the street. I love stuff like that, but being underneath the plastic, and even if you know, it's still scary.
That's so good.
You're yelling, behind you! To me, that's just like classic horror cinema where you're yelling behind you. But I don't know. I had a really good time with this, and in my memory, I like the sequel too, but I don't know. We'll have to revisit that when it gets there. But what specific scenes kind of stand out to you in this movie?
Definitely the under the plastic scene. Sarah Michelle Gellar looks stunning in her beauty pageant wear. Those are some top quality 90s dresses.
Do not disagree. Now, the only hardest thing for me watching this was like, why isn't Buffy just kicking this killer in the face? You know, but I still think she was great. I think she was an underrated actress. I think she really was. You know, and she just kind of disappeared. You know,
I think she wanted to.
Yeah, no, she wanted to be a mom. She wanted to be a mom. Don't get the wrong way.
Yeah. My kind of hang up is oh my gosh, Leonard. Is he Max in the movie?
Max. Yeah. Why does the killer kill him?
Why you kill it? He wasn't part of the car, right?
Only thing I could think was to create confusion or to make it clear that Max wasn't the killer. Because I don't know, maybe he wanted to keep them scared. Because Ryan Phillippe's character goes and confronts him, and he's like, I scared the hell out of him. It's over. Maybe he just did it because he's like, okay, well, I can't let him think that's it. And they just go back to not being scared anymore.
So what I kind of came away with is when Ryan, because the killer is the fisherman, is a fisherman. And when Ryan goes to confront him on the docks, the fisherman overhears it and overhears him saying, you were the only other one there that night. Yeah. So maybe he somehow misinterprets that as he's an accomplice too, and I never saw, or
maybe.
But maybe he was there, just not guilty.
Maybe they just need a higher body count.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think this movie
Sister gets it too.
Very fair. If you're talking about like the equal killer, male, female,
equal
doesn't matter.
Killer.
Yeah, he killed. What was the body count here? So we got both the blonde sisters.
Yeah.
So we get both those. We get Ryan Phillippe's character, who I can't remember his name. Sorry, character name. I still think Freddie Prinze should have got killed just because this dude has been like, he was too scared to even confront Ryan Phillippe's character, but yet he's going to get on this boat and all of a sudden he's like a badass fighter. Look, I know he's been a fisherman and all stuff, but he's fighting a guy that's like a brick house. I guess.
Winning his girl
I guess it was a little ridiculous. That's like one of my real big criticisms with this. Is that, but maybe I just wanted to see Freddie Prinze killed because he stole my girlfriend. So did you figure out the mystery the first time, who the actual killer was? I figured out who Billy Blue was.
I figured out who Billy Blue was. That, like, when he was like, oh, no, I'm not
Yeah,
going.
we got to stop. For a moment,
totally
I thought he
obvious.
was the killer when he was like, take my hand, come on the boat. And I'm like, okay, you know some things. Come on, my hand.
But no, he was definitely Billy Blue. But no, the first time through, I had never guessed it was the other girl's dad.
Me neither. I thought it was the dude we saw at the very beginning that was spinning the little thing, So, fun mystery. It's very predictable. It's nothing that I feel like it's reinventing the wheel. But for me, this was where horror was making its comeback because it had gotten so bad in the early 90s. I felt like Scream made it fun again.
Yeah.
And it made it where it's like not exactly scary or anything like that, but it made it enjoyable again. I think Kevin Williamson just cracked that code of what teenagers were into at that time. And it just showed that, hey, just because he started with Dawson's Creek don't mean the guy couldn't go into bigger and better things. Up to, what did we watch last year? Sick? He wrote that too, which was like,
fun.
that seems like a Scream movie.
That
very
was
much had a
enjoyable,
Scream formula. So the guy is very, very good at what he does. And I'm happy to say, going back to these, I'm not just like cringing. There are a couple things I'm like, that's interesting. Like, why do you cast someone as beautiful as Jennifer Love Hewitt and make her look sick the whole movie?
Oh yeah, because she's supposed to be tired, but
I guess.
Yes, that was a weird choice.
I never understand these decisions. It's like, hey, let's get Charlize Theron, one of the most beautiful people in the world, and let's make her ugly as shit for that movie Monster. It's like,
well, that's the character.
Maybe there's roles for some people who aren't as attractive as Charlize Theron out there.
That's true.
So when it comes to stars and pumpkin rating on this, look, I'm not going to pretend this is high cinema, guys. But for me, this is just the ultimate horror popcorn flick. I'm having a good time here. So, I go like 3 stars, and it's not scary. 2 pumpkins, and that's being generous, probably. There are a couple of jump scares that might get you or whatever. But for me, this is just fun. Just a horror romp, I think is what I call it. I think the part in the ice, where you got the dead bodies in the ice, might be the only part that's like, oh, no.
Where her hand is on it. She's like crawling through it. And
that might be about it. But where do you stand on stars and pumpkins?
So pretty much the same. For me, it's not Scream. It's like Scream Light, which is not. Still happy to drink Scream Light. Yeah. But yeah, 3 stars, 2 pumpkins. They're not so much the scare factor, but the gore factor where you're hooking people and
he hooks Leonard like dragging call him Leonard. I can't think of his name. David from Roseanne.
Yeah,
where they hook him and drag him across the Max. I don't know his real name. Padalecki? No, that's Supernatural's Padalecki.
Yeah.
Gardaki. I don't know. Leonard from Big Bang Theory. Anyway, so yeah, fun. It's fun. It's a good time if you haven't seen it before. Hey, and you like Scream? I say
You'll
check
like
it out.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
check it out. So let us know what you guys think. Are we way off on this one? I'll say that I don't think that my kid really had an opinion on one way or the other. He hasn't really talked
He's
about it
neutral,
much since.
yeah.
So he was just kind of, I mean,
Didn't hate it.
He didn't seem like he was miserable or anything, but yeah, there we
I
go.
don't think he'll be asking to see it again.
Yeah, I don't
either.
think he'll ask to.
Yeah.
I don't know. At the very end, though, he did just say what happened. I was like, well, you'll have to find out if they still know what you did last summer. So maybe we'll do that one next year. So drop in the comments, guys. Let us know what you think about I Know What You Did Last Summer, and we will talk to you there.